Kale Rowan woke with a sharp gasp. His breath caught in his throat. The air smelled sterile and cold. His arms and legs were strapped to a smooth metallic table. Bright blue lights flickered above him, and strange shapes moved in the blur beyond. His vision. He struggled, but the restraints didn't budge. Panic rose in his chest. "Where am I?" He whispered, his voice raw. A shadow moved closer, and he froze. It wasn't human. The figure was tall and slender, skin pale silver with faint lines that pulsed like soft lights under the surface. Her eyes were large and shining, a pale violet that seemed to glow on their own. She didn't look cruel. She didn't look kind either. Just focused. "You are conscious," the alien woman said in calm, perfect English. "That's earlier than expected." Kale blinked hard, trying to remember what happened. He had been on Mars Station Delta, working on busted oxygen scrubbers, nothing special. Then the alert, the explosion, and light, and then nothing. "Why? Am I tied down?" he asked. The alien didn't answer right away. She picked up a long syringe filled with a glowing blue liquid and held it up to the light. Kale's heart pounded. "What is that?" What are you doing?" he said, struggling harder. The alien stepped closer. "You are not in danger," she said, though her voice lacked emotion. "You have been chosen for the trial. The serum will burn." "That's normal." Kale's eyes went wide. "Burn? No, wait. I didn't agree to this." But she didn't. "Stop." The needle touched his skin, and the moment the serum pushed in, fire shot through his chest. It was like molten glass flooding his veins, like lightning tearing through every cell. He screamed, body arching against the restraints. His vision went white, and then red. Every heartbeat felt like an explosion. He saw lights in his mind, shapes he couldn't name, memories that weren't his. Through the storm of pain, he saw her face leaning in, calm, still. She placed her hand gently over his chest, just above his heart. Her skin was cool, but where she touched, the fire stilled. "You're ready now," she whispered. Kale's eyes rolled back, and everything went dark. Time passed. Minutes. Hours? Days? He wasn't sure. When he woke again, he was no longer strapped down. The table had shifted into a softer surface, something like a bed. His body ached, but the burning was gone. He sat up slowly. His heart still beat, but each beat echoed in his ears, deeper, slower, louder. The room was quiet and bright, made of smooth white panels and strange floating displays. Vireya, the alien woman, stood nearby, typing something into a console. He stared at her. "What did you do to me?" She turned, met his eyes. "You survived the primary fusion. That makes you the first." Kale shook his head. "First what?" "First human to accept Enrel cellular symbiosis," she said, like it was simple. "The others failed. They did not survive the pain." Kale stood, unsteady, anger and confusion boiling inside him. "You experimented on people? Without asking? Without warning?" Vireya blinked, tilting her head. "Would you have agreed?" "If we had?" He said nothing. She stepped closer. "Your biology is now linked to the serum. It is not just in your blood, it is part of you. You will begin to change, see, hear, feel. More." Kale backed away, but then he paused. Something felt off. The hum of the lights, he could feel them. A soft vibration through the floor. He could hear the rhythm of her pulse from across the room. What is happening to me?" he whispered. Vireya didn't smile, but there was something softer in her eyes. "You're becoming what we could not. Something new. Something that might save both of our species." Kale's breath caught. "Save from what?" But before she could answer, the room's lights dimmed. A tone echoed through the walls, low and warning. Vireya turned toward the console, her fingers flying across it. Her calm face twisted slightly. "They know," she muttered. "Who?" Kale asked. She looked back at him, and for the first time, her voice trembled. "The others. The ones who believe this fusion is a crime. We have to move. Now." Kale's heart pounded louder. He was still weak, still confused, but something inside him was changing fast. And whatever was coming through those doors, he had a feeling he was going to need every part of it. Kale stood barefoot on the cold floor, still dizzy from the transformation. His skin tingled with strange energy, like static, humming beneath the surface. The ship vibrated with a deep alarm low, pulsing, full of warning. Vireya moved fast, pressing a panel that slid open a hidden door behind her. "Follow me," she said, urgency sharp in her voice. Kale hesitated. His heart was still pounding. From the burning syringe, from the way she had touched his chest and whispered those haunting words. But whatever was coming, it didn't sound friendly. He followed. The corridor outside was dim and pulsing with red light. Strange alien symbols blinked along the walls. Kale could see without effort, even though there was barely any light. The change in him was growing. He could feel the energy in the walls, hear the sound of distant footsteps even before they echoed. He wasn't just human anymore. He was something else. And that scared him. Vireya moved like she knew every twist of the ship. "They're called the Authari," she said as they ran. "They believe what I did to you was forbidden. That your transformation is an offense to nature." Kale kept close, his breathing heavy. "So they're coming to kill me?" Vireya didn't answer, but her silence said everything. They turned a corner, only to be met by a blast of plasma that struck the wall beside them. The metal hissed and sizzled. Red-armored figures rushed toward them, tall, heavily armed, and not hesitating. Vireya shoved Kale into a side hall. "This way." They ducked into a chamber that sealed behind them. It was filled with glowing crystal tubes, and the air smelled metallic. "What is this place?" Kale asked. "Emergency escape bay," Vireya said, already activating controls on a pod shaped like a smooth egg. "You need to go." Kale grabbed her wrist. "We go together." Vireya shook her head. "No. They want you. You're the experiment. You're the proof. I was only the guide. They'll kill me to make an example, but you still have a chance to get out." Kale stared at her. "You injected me without asking. You tied me down like I was nothing. But you saved me. Why?" Vireya looked away. "Because I saw something in you. Something we lost. Courage, instinct, life. My people are dying, Kale. We needed something new, something wild. And you were it." Footsteps slammed down in the hallway outside. The door trembled with force. They were cutting through. Kale looked at the pod, then back at her. "You're coming with me." "I'm injured," she said softly. "I can't survive the launch." "The Gi forces." "I don't care," Kale said, lifting her up. She was lighter than expected, her body warmer than before. Her blood shivered, faintly where she had been grazed by a plasma bolt. He laid her inside the pod, then climbed in after her. The pod was tight, their bodies pressed together. Her breathing was shallow. "You're foolish," she whispered. "So are you," he replied. The ceiling cracked above them. One of the Authari burst through, weapon raised. Kale slammed the launch button. The pod screamed as it launched from the ship, streaking through space like a comet. Stars blurred around them. Kale held onto Vireya, shielding her with his body. The air vibrated. The pressure slammed into them. She coughed, and her hand found his chest again, like before, only weaker this time. "You shouldn't have come back for me?" she whispered. "Too bad," he replied. "Not leaving anyone behind today." The stars began to slow. A glowing planet came into view covered in swirling clouds and soft green seas. "Where are we?" he asked. Vireya blinked slowly, eyes glassy. "The core, where the star burn. Vault lies. It's the only place left that can fix you." "Fix me?" Kale asked. "What's wrong with me?" Her lips trembled. "They placed something in you. A failsafe. It will destroy you from inside, unless we reach the vault." Kale's blood ran cold. He wasn't safe. The serum wasn't finished. And whoever had done this had meant for him to burn from the inside out if he ran. The pod rocked gently as it descended into the clouds of the green planet. Kale looked down at Vireya, her silver skin paler than before, her strength fading. She had broken her people's law to give him a chance. Now they both had enemies, and very little time got as the pod broke through the clouds. Kale saw the ground. Below, ancient ruins wrapped in light, a tower that pulsed with the same blue glow that had filled the syringe. The vault was real, but so was the danger waiting for them down there. As the pod prepared to land, Kale tightened his grip around Vireya and whispered into the silence, "Just hold on. I'm not done yet." And then the console blinked red incoming. SIGNAL detected, not alone. Something else had followed them. Asterisk. The escape pod shook violently as it pierced through the thick clouds of the green planet. Wind howled against the hull, and light from the nearby star flickered through the atmosphere in long golden streaks. Kale held Vireya close, bracing her, head against his chest, trying to protect her from the turbulence. Her breathing was faint, her skin turning a dull gray, and her body trembled with weakness. He had no idea how to help her, no idea if she would even survive the landing, but he refused to let go. Outside, vast stretches of jungle and crystalline mountains swept beneath them. But in the center of it all stood a massive structure, ancient, smooth, and humming with power. The vault. Vireya had called it the core, a place where energy lived in raw form, a place that could cure or kill. Kale just hoped they'd reach it before the failsafe inside him finished its job. Suddenly, a loud beep echoed from the console. The red light pulsed again, target lock acquired. Kale's eyes widened. "We're not alone," he muttered. He looked up through the curved pod glass and saw it, a black spear-shaped shuttle diving through the clouds behind them. The Afari had followed. Kale cursed under his breath. Of course they did. The pod spun to the side, jostled by an unseen force. He slammed a hand against the control panel, trying to force a manual landing. The pod dipped sharply, skimming over treetops that glowed with soft blue light. Branches slapped against the hull, sparks flying. Alarms blared louder. "Brace!" he shouted, holding Vireya as the pod slammed into a soft patch of glowing moss and slid across the forest floor. The crash sent shockwaves through the earth. Everything went dark. When Kale opened his eyes, everything was quiet. Smoke curled from the edge of the broken hatch. His head throbbed, and the air smelled like burning metal and ozone. He groaned, pushing the hatch open. Cool, alien air brushed. His skin cleaner than Earth's ever was. He turned quickly. Vireya still lay unconscious beside him, her breathing shallow but steady. He climbed out, then gently pulled her from the wreckage, laying her in the moss. Around them, the forest pulsed with color. Plants glowed in soft blues and purples, and tall trees whispered as if alive. It was beautiful. And deadly dot in the distance, the vault tower stood silent, only a mile away. Its smooth walls shimmered with the same glow Kale had seen in the serum. That place, he knew, was where he had to go. Something inside him was burning again. A slow ache in his chest, like something pressing from the inside. The failsafe. He didn't know how long he had, but he knew it wasn't much. He knelt beside Vireya, brushing her silver hair from her forehead. "I'll get you there," he whispered. "Both of us." But then the forest grew still. Kale turned. A mechanical hiss echoed through the air. Figures emerged through the trees tall. Dark-armored Alfari soldiers, weapons drawn, glowing red visors, watching him like hunters in the night. Kale stood up slowly, his body tense. One of the Alfari pointed at him and spoke in a deep, hollow voice. "Return the experiment. You were never meant to survive." Kale didn't run. He didn't flinch. Something inside him clicked. A pulse, a hum in his blood. His veins glowed faintly beneath his skin. His heartbeat slowed, and yet every sound became sharper. The Athari aimed their weapons. Kale took a breath, stepped forward, and raised his hand. The air shimmered around him. Energy burst from his palm wild, uncontrolled, and sent a wave of force slamming into the nearest soldier, throwing him across the clearing. The others staggered. Kale gasped, his hand smoking. The forest responded, vines glowing and rising, as if awakened by his presence. The Alfari hesitated. Kale grabbed Vireya and began running, his legs stronger than they'd ever felt, his body moving with speed and precision that wasn't possible before the injection. Behind him, the Alfari shouted and fired, but the trees themselves seemed to shield him. Vines reached across paths, thick branches fell to block the fire. The jungle protected him. He didn't know why. He didn't care. All that mattered was reaching. The vault dot as he crossed a glowing riverbed. The structure rose above him like a mountain. A giant door pulsed at the base. No locks or handles. Just a glowing outline like a heartbeat. Kale reached it, panting, holding Vireya tight. He placed her down gently and pressed both hands to the glowing surface. Nothing happened. He slammed his fist against the door. "Please," he begged. "She's dying. I'm dying. Let us in." The door shimmered, then glowed brighter. A pulse echoed from Kale's chest. The door recognized it, his energy, the serum's gift. The failsafe within him burned hotter, like it knew the end was near. The door began to open. Behind him, the Athari shouted again. Kale turned. They were right there, only seconds away. He grabbed Vireya, pulled her inside, as the door opened to reveal glowing corridors of light and mist. The moment they crossed the threshold, the door slammed shut behind them, safe for now. But inside, the vault was waking up, and something ancient was calling Kale by name. Asterisk. The air inside the vault was warm and pulsing with a steady rhythm like a living heartbeat deep within stone and starlight. As the massive entrance sealed shut behind them, the forest and the Alfari vanished, replaced by glowing corridors that seemed to stretch into infinity. The walls shimmered, soft light flowing like water across their surface, casting reflections of colors Kale had no name for. He stood in silence, holding Vireya tightly in his arms. Her skin was colder now. Her breaths came shallow and thin. "Stay with me," he whispered, pressing his forehead to hers. "You got me this far. Let me do the rest." He moved forward, feet echoing softly on the smooth floor that looked like glass but felt alive beneath his boots. As he stepped into the heart of the vault, the structure began to respond. Lights shifted. Shapes danced faintly above the floor symbols, and constellations made of light and sound. The space around him seemed to sense his presence, drawing him toward a central chamber shaped like a sphere, its walls covered in ancient alien script that glowed brighter as he entered. In the middle of the room stood a circular platform, floating slightly above the ground, with a single pillar in the center. It pulsed in sync with his heartbeat. Kale stepped onto it, and the moment his foot touched the edge, the energy surged. The failsafe in his chest roared to life. He gasped, nearly dropping Vireya as pain exploded behind his ribs. He staggered, clutching at his chest with one hand. His veins lit up again, lines of blue-white fire spreading across his skin. The serum inside him was fighting something, or maybe breaking apart. He could feel something burning through his body. A countdown. He couldn't stop. "Please," he groaned. "If this place can help me, help her. Do it now." The pillar rose slowly, humming louder. Then, without warning, a voice echoed not through his ears, but directly into his mind. It was deep, calm, and old beyond time. "You carry the spark of both paths. Human fire and Rel light. You are the first who may survive." Kale looked up. "Then help us," the chamber responded. Beams of light surrounded him and Vireya, scanning every inch of their bodies. He watched in awe as the energy wrapped around her form, lifting her gently into the air. Her wounds shimmered and began to close. Her breathing evened. Kale's heart clenched in relief. But then the light turned to him, and the pain intensified. The failsafe reacted violently, tendrils of shadow ripping through the glowing lines. In his chest, he dropped to his knees, teeth gritted in agony. The voice spoke again. "The code inside you is flawed. It was made to destroy the hybrid if it evolved too far. It must be burned out, but the process may kill you." Kale didn't hesitate. "Do it." Energy surged through the chamber. His body shook as the failsafe activated fully, sending waves of destructive pulses into his heart. But the vault fought back. Energy flowed into him from the floor, the air, the walls. It was like he was standing between a dying star and a supernova. He saw flashes, memories not his own. The moment of Earth's first contact. The loss of Enrel homeworld. Vireya's childhood alone in sterile corridors. His own father back on Earth, dying in a mining collapse because help came too late. All of it swirled together in a storm of light and pain and meaning. He screamed. Vireya floated above him, her eyes fluttering open. "Kale?" she whispered, voice trembling. "What's happening?" He looked up at her, smiling through the tears. "Saving us." And then his body exploded with light. Not fire, not plasma, but something deeper. His skin cracked with glowing lines. His eyes filled with starlight. The shadow inside him, the failsafe shattered, torn away by the energy of the vault. The platform pulsed once more, then slowly lowered him to the floor. Kale collapsed, breathless and still. Vireya dropped beside him, catching his head in her lap. "Kale," she whispered, touching his chest. It was warm, strong, alive. The lines across his body were still glowing, but softer, now settled. His heartbeat had changed, slower, deeper, harmonized with something beyond them both. He blinked, groaning. "Did it work?" She laughed, really laughed for the first time. "Yes, you're still human, and something more." The vault began to dim as the process ended. The voice spoke one last time. "The future has been born. Protected." Then, silence, but only for a moment. A deep rumble echoed from behind. Kale and Vireya turned. The door of the vault was opening again. And the Athari had found another way in. Their leader stepped through the light, taller than the others, his armor etched in blood-red symbols. His weapon gleamed. His voice echoed across the chamber like thunder. "It's too late to hide. The hybrid dies here." Kale stood slowly, eyes glowing with the vault's light. He stepped in front of Vireya and clenched his fists. "No," he said. "I've only just begun." The Athari leader stepped into the heart of the vault, his armor hissing as it adjusted to the radiant energy of the chamber. Behind him, 4 more soldiers entered, their weapons glowing a dull red, casting flickering shadows across the glowing walls. The vault, once calm and warm, now pulsed with a warning rhythm like a heartbeat, bracing for violence. Kale stood between them and Vireya, his body still humming with raw energy. The scars left by the serum and the failsafe now glowed gently across his skin like ancient runes. His breath was steady. His eyes burned with the soft starlight. He wasn't afraid. Not anymore. The leader raised his weapon and pointed it directly at Kale. "You are a danger to every species," he said in a voice that felt like stone grinding against metal. "You were never meant to survive. You are not evolution, you are contamination." Kale didn't flinch. "Then why are you afraid of me?" The Althari snarled and fired. But the beam never reached Kale. The energy arced toward him and vanished in a shimmer of blue light the moment it neared his chest. The vault responded to protect him. The chamber walls echoed with deep tones, like a giant bell ringing in the distance. Kale raised his hand, and the air around him shimmered again. This time, it wasn't wild or uncontrolled. It was focused. A ripple of force burst outward, throwing the Athari soldiers off balance. Vireya stepped beside him, still, weak but standing. "He's not a weapon," she said. "He's the balance we were missing. He's proof that we don't have to fade away." The Athari leader recovered and stepped forward again. "You think the galaxy will accept a hybrid? A creature born of desperation and broken codes?" His voice filled with disgust. "Your kind is already dying. This only ensures your extinction will be uglier." Kale clenched his jaw. He could feel the anger rising, the spark inside him reacting to the Athari's presence. But he breathed slowly, grounding himself. "Maybe you're right," he said. "Maybe I'm not what you expected, but I'm here. I survived what none of you could, and I won't let you erase that just because it scares you." With a roar, the leader lunged forward, his blades sparking with energy. Kale met him head-on. Their weapons' plasma and light clashed in the air with a deafening crack. The vault reacted again, amplifying the sound into waves of pure force. The floor shook. Cracks of glowing blue light raced along the ground as the structure absorbed and responded to their clash. The soldiers tried to intervene, but Vireya stepped in their path. She activated a wave of kinetic energy from the console behind her, throwing them back and sealing the chamber doors. Now it was just Kale and the Athari leader light against shadow, fire against fury. Kale's body moved with instinct. His strikes faster, sharper than any human should manage. Every time he was hit, the vault seemed to heal him. Every move the Athari made, Kale sensed before it landed. The serum had rewired his instincts. He wasn't just fighting, he was evolving with each blow. But the Athari leader was strong, ancient, and ruthless. He landed a heavy strike to Kale's side, sending him crashing against the pillar in the center of the room. Blood spilled from Kale's mouth. He coughed, his vision blurring. "You are a mistake," the Athari growled, raising his blade for the final blow. But just as he swung, Vireya screamed. The vault heard her. Light exploded from the pillar, blinding and pure. It wrapped around Kale, lifted him from the floor, and fused with the lines across his skin. The pain vanished. The energy returned, not wild, not broken, but complete. He rose from the light, hovering inches above the floor, his body surrounded by a gentle blue glow. The Athari leader hesitated. Too late. Kale extended his hand. The blade in the Athari's grip shattered like glass. A shockwave blasted outward, throwing the armored figure back across the room. The chamber fell silent again, the only sound the soft hum of the vault and the distant crackle of fading energy. Kale floated down, his feet touching the floor with a soft echo. He walked to the fallen leader, who lay dazed and weaponless. Kale knelt beside him. "I'm not your enemy," Kale said softly, "but I won't let you hurt her, or stop what comes next." The leader glared up, defeated but unbroken. The galaxy won't accept you. Kale stood. Then we'll change. The galaxy. Vireya ran to him, throwing her arms around his chest, her voice tight with emotion. I thought I'd lost you. He pulled her close. Not a chance. The vault pulsed once more, calmer now, like a heart at peace. The chamber opened behind them, revealing a stairway of light leading upward into a new dawn. The sky above. The vault had changed. Stars shimmered brighter. The jungle outside pulsed with new life. But just as they turned to leave, the vault spoke again. One last choice remains. To become the bridge, you must leave your old self behind. Kale turned to Vireya. She nodded, eyes shining dot, and together they stepped into the light. Asterisk as Kale and Vireya stepped into the light. The stairway beneath them glowed brighter, with each step lifting them toward a new chamber suspended above the core. The air grew warmer, more alive, pulsing in harmony with their breath and heartbeat. It wasn't just a room. It felt like a living being, ancient and intelligent, watching and waiting. Above them, a dome of transparent crystal revealed the endless sky, stars swirling overhead in slow motion, like constellations being rewritten. In the center of the chamber stood a floating sphere of light, pure and brilliant, hovering above a circular platform, etched with interwoven patterns from both human and Nrel language. Two legacies, now one. Vireya's hand tightened around Kale's. Her strength had returned, her silver skin glowing once more with soft light, but her eyes were serious, almost sad. Kale turned to her. What does it mean? Leave your old self behind. She looked up at the glowing sphere. It's the final phase. The core offers full synthesis, full transformation. But only one of us can complete it. One body, one mind reborn from both species. Not a mix, something entirely new. Kale's breath caught. You mean, we become one person? Vireya nodded slowly. One consciousness with memories. From both sides, one identity, not two. She stepped forward, her voice trembling. But it means letting go. I would no longer be Vireya. And you? Would no longer be just Kale. The words struck deep. Kale stared at the light. It pulsed softly, waiting, offering. He thought of Earthbroken, struggling. He thought of Vireya's people, dying across the stars. He thought of the way the vault had changed him, healed him, and what the Athari had tried to destroy. And he thought of her, this strange, brilliant, stubborn alien who had risked everything to give him a chance. There has to be another way, he said. We've already done so much. But Vireya stepped closer. This was always the way. The vault didn't just save you. It made you the key, the last gate. The choice must come from you. Her voice dropped to a whisper. No one can force it. Kale turned away, heart pounding. His hands trembled. Could he give that up, his name, his memories, his voice? Would he still remember his father's voice? His mother's laugh? The feeling of Earth's gravity under his feet? He looked back at her and saw the tears in her eyes. Vireya wasn't just brave, she was ready. Ready to give herself for something greater. The thought of her disappearing forever stabbed at him like a blade. I don't want to lose you, he whispered. She reached out, touched his chest one final time, just like she did when the syringe first burned through him. You won't. If we do this, we're never apart again. Kale stepped onto the platform, his feet moving on their own. The core glowed brighter, wrapping both of them in threads of warm light. Energy surged around them, soft and gentle, like a lullaby, but vast and deep like the beginning of the universe. The chamber faded. The stars dissolved into mist. And the light took them. There was no pain, no sound, just warmth. He saw her memories, her childhood in silent domes, watching stars through lonely glass, the guilt she carried for letting others die, the courage it took to defy her orders. Asterisk. She saw his running through the metal corridors of Earth's mining colonies, fixing broken cables with greasy hands, choosing laughter when the world offered none. The ache of watching his family fall apart, the quiet hope he buried beneath. Anger. The memories braided together, the pain, the hope. The wonder. Then it was done. The core dimmed. The stars returned. And on the platform, a single figure stood. They opened their eyes, violet and blue, glowing softly with light from both legacies. Skin a pale gold, with lines of energy beneath the surface. Not male, not female, not human, not Nrel, something beyond. A synthesis of two lost races. A new beginning. The vault recognized them. The chamber walls shimmered in silent celebration. Outside, the clouds parted, and beams of sunlight broke through the alien sky. The jungle bloomed brighter. Creatures lifted their heads. Far beyond, across systems and stations, sensors detected a wave of harmony, an echo of something being healed. The figure took a slow breath and spoke. Their voice carried weight, beauty, sadness, and hope all at once. We are not Kale. We are not Vireya. We are. The name was born from both of them. A new voice for a new being. Kira stepped down from the platform. The stairway opened again, leading back into the vault's main corridor. The Athari had vanished, driven back or consumed by their own rage. But beyond the jungle, ships waited. Messages had already spread. Something new had awakened. The galaxy would come, some to fear, some to follow. Kira would meet them not as a weapon, but as a symbol of what could be, of what had survived, of what had chosen. Love over fear. The stars turned gently overhead, and the future opened its doors. The end.